1 million Iraqis have been prematurely dispatched to Safia's celestials. They no longer are with us. You know, we just saw the images of 33 miners in Chile being rescued. As each miner came out, I was in tears looking at the beautiful life that was saved. And can you just imagine 1 million people being done to death, and there's not even a mention in the Western press that these people have been done to death. Another 4.5 million people are displaced internally or externally, which means 25% of the Iraqi population have been either done to death or been wounded or displaced internally or externally. Its entire infrastructure is destroyed. Iraq was a country with a standard of living equivalent to that of the southern European countries. It is totally wrecked now. That is the position in Iraq. Something similar is happening. Dr. Mendoza says, we went to war against Afghanistan because of 9/11. Every country in the world on the basis of that would have a right to wage war against Britain and the United States of America. How many 9/11s have been perpetrated by the United States of America and by Britain against other people? Let's confine ourselves to United States of America, because it's always easier to take that story in Britain than it is against Britain. United States of America, Dr. Mendoza mentioned the North and South Koreans. I know North Koreans. They're fantastic people. They're warm-hearted people. It's lovely to know them. The wall that divides North and South Korea is built by South Korea and the United States, and not by North Korea or China or anybody else. Just as Reagan told Mr. Gorbachev, demolish the Berlin Wall, I call upon you here to demand from the United States, demolish the wall that divides North and South Korea. Why are they so frightened of North Korea? A small, plucky nation which has been at the cutting edge of the fight against imperialism for 50 years and is able to survive like a little Sparta. In North Korea, in the name of democracy, Americans killed 4 million Koreans. They tried the same democracy in Vietnam, killed 4 million. They tried the same democracy in Indonesia through their students, killed 1 million. They tried the same democracy in Iraq and they killed 1 million. Dr. Mendoza talks about prisons. United States of America is a large prison. There are 2 million prisoners in the United States of America. A greater proportion of its population spends time in jails than that of any other single country ever in the world. Dr. Mendoza talks of prisons. Why doesn't he? Why is he so myopic as not to mention Abu Ghraib and Guantanamo Bay? Why does not he mention why so many blacks spend so much time in the United States prisons? Dr. Mendoza talks about freedom and democracy. But freedom and democracy with Dr. Mendoza have become empty words. You know, language has ceased to have the meaning that it once used to have. Radicals are called conservatives. Communism and fascism are conflated and considered as equal. Attempts at imperialist domination are called liberal interventionism. After a while, language ceases to have any meaning. We refuse to indulge in a debate where the words don't mean anything. We are in favor of using words and conveying the meaning that they do. Dr. Mendoza talks of democracy. Wouldn't it be good to have democracy here? Before the Iraq war started, I was one of them. 2 million people demonstrated against the start of the war. They were totally ignored. Majority of the British people have continued to oppose the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq, and the war continues to be fought. Democracy is only in words. You have political parties, the Liberal Democrats, the Labour Party, the Conservative Party, all parties of imperialism, all in favor of war. There is not a single member of parliament who represents the interest. There is not a single member of parliament who represents the interests of the people there. Now, if he's talking about democracy, he's been talking about the Middle East. Couldn't he have taken a few steps and gone in the way of Israel? Gaza is a large prison camp controlled by Israel. The Zionists are doing exactly the same to the Palestinian people as was done by the Nazis to the Jewish people during the Second World War and prior to the Jewish war. How can you have any claim to fairness and equity when you will not speak against such outrageous conditions that the Palestinian people are subjected to? I ask you that if you are really in favor of democracy, First, demand democracy for the working people. Demand that the bankers and the criminals who have actually brought us to a state where working people are having to lose pensions and jobs and employment, etc., they should be actually taken to court, they should be prosecuted and put behind bars so that they're safe there and doing no harm to society. That is what would be really the meaning of any democracy. Of course, you're students, you're young, your sentiments are right, but also all the time is dangled in front of you the prospect that if you speak out against injustice, you will be a marked person. You will not get such good marks. You will not get a good job. And you cannot continue to live like that. It reminds me of a great trade unionist in this country called Jimmy Reid, across the border in Scotland. In the aftermath of the United Clyde shipbuilders' strike, he was elected to the rectorship of Glasgow University. And during that, his rectorial lecture, he said something which I'd like to cite to you. It's a quotation from him. I hope you keep note of that and act upon it. He said, a rat race is for rats. We're not rats, we're human beings. Reject the insidious pressures in society that would blunt your critical faculties to all that is happening around you. That you would caution silence in the face of injustice, lest you jeopardize your chances of self-promotion and self-advancement. This is how it starts. And before you know where you are a fully paid member of the rat pack. The price is too high. It entails the loss of your dignity and human spirit. Or, he concluded, as Christ put it, what is it to profit a man if he gains the whole world and forfeits his soul? The final point, Madam Chairman, that I'd like to make is, people talk about democracy. In fact, instead of us bringing democracy to the people who are the target of our ruling class's aggression and attempts at domination, are the ones who are bringing democracy to us. By fighting against the imperialist armies of occupation, the people of Iraq and the people of Afghanistan are actually making the working class realize what they should be fighting for. Instead of us giving democracy to them, you may not think very highly of them. You might think they're stupid people with stupid turbans who are going around in flip-flops and baggy trousers and they don't know nothing. They're actually sending democracy to the imperialist countries. We have an interest in making sure that we support their struggle for resistance in exactly the same way as if you were a British person of the type of Thomas Paine who would have supported the American movement for independence in the United States of America. We have the duty to support them in the same way as you would have supported the French resistance against the Nazi occupiers. The British armies and the American armies, what they're doing is, are trying to dominate these people and take away their resources. Liam Fox, he may look stupid, but he's not stupid. He's the defense secretary of this country. He gave an interview to the Times, and he said to the Times journalist, we are not here. We have real interest to fight for in this country. We're not here to protect the education of girls in a 13th century broken country. Now, this is cynical, but it is much to be appreciated compared with the hypocritical talk about democracy that we've heard from the previous speaker. We're not fighting for democracy there, we're fighting for oil, we're fighting for resources, we're fighting for opportunities for investment, and we're fighting for markets. That's what we're fighting for. And as working people, we should be opposing that. There's no reason for us to earn our living by over the corpses of millions of people in other countries. We're quite capable of earning our living and having a better future by dispatching our ruling class to pension, but without a pension. Thank you very much.